Here's a question I got from a student just recently. They were weighing, kind of options between a really big Fortune 10 company or Fortune 100 company and a smaller brand company. And actually, what's interesting about this is that these two companies, do the same things, same kind of work, and but this student was really compelled to kind of go after the bigger brand company. And I understand. There's kind of this assumption that if I have on my resume this really big brand, it's going to give me a leg up. I wouldn't dispute that it gives you a leg up in the sense that, like, people see a big brand, they might want to talk to you. They might want to learn a little bit more about your experience. But when it comes down to it, it doesn't guarantee you anything. In the interview, right, if a big brand on your resume gets you into the interview, but you bomb the interview, then the big brand didn't help you. And I'm a perfect example where I got into an interview with my internship, which became my full-time employer for about 10 years. And I had no big brands on my resume. I worked at a very small law firm where I did clerical work. I did, resetting passwords, nothing that was like super impactful. But I worked with some different people who had different work styles that were kind of difficult situations. And when I walked into my interview during my junior year for internships, I sat down and I was worried, like, oh, I don't have any big names on my resume. And I hear students say this to me all the time, but they didn't care. What they wanted to say is, tell me about what your experience was at this place. And I said, was it good? And I was like, well, it was pretty difficult. And they said, well, what was it like? And I said, well, I mean, I had different people working different work styles. There were people who quit. I needed a job and I needed to figure out how to work with these people. So I figured out how to get along with people that were difficult, and they ended up thriving there and stayed the whole summer. And that was a thing that scored me my first full-time internship at a big company. So I don't think that the big brand is something that you should go after just because it's got big brand on it. I mean, even in college, right? There are people who excel if you go to a small college that you never heard of. So big brand doesn't score you anything. Big organizations give you different advantages and things like that, but there are also cons to that. And we'll talk about that in a later question about small versus big environments. But I would say, does the big brand, is that something you should all go after? It really depends on you. If it's something that's really important to you, that you want to have this big brand on your resume, then by all means do it. But don't assume that that's going to guarantee or lock you into anything. And don't assume that working for a small organization is going to limit you in any way. I hope that answers the question for all of you. And keep them coming.